All right, we just got to the house. This is what it's like to be a real estate photographer. So I picked up this neck contraption thing to get some behind the scenes content. So let's see how this works. How are we feeling about this? I mean, it works, but... So when I was at the house, the audio setting on my microphone was all messed up. It was very low, you could barely hear me. So here I am doing a voiceover, a little play-by-play commentary. So I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown at the very beginning. Here I'm going through the house, turning on all of the lights, making sure the lamps are on. I was talking about the windows being a little bit dirty and if I should put down the blinds and then open them, but since the realtor already had the blinds open, I assumed that this is exactly how they wanted it. But remember, this is a regular client of mine, so make sure that you check with your agents to see what they're looking for. Lamps are on, all the lights are on. Anyways, quick note about equipment. When I first got into real estate photography, I was lugging around a massive Pelican case, a roller bag. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It made me feel professional, and I figured that the clients would be impressed too. But after a few shoots, it got heavy and old real quick. Since then, I've switched over to the simple backpack, and honestly, it's been a game changer. I keep things minimal. No backup camera or anything fancy, just my main camera setup, a drone, and a 360 camera for 3D tours. Remember, you want to be as efficient on site as possible. Don't let unnecessary gear slow you down. Here, I was talking about my flash, specifically the time I dropped it while running across the street. The back of the screen completely stopped working, but it's still going strong, so I'm still using it. It's the Godox AD200, and honestly, it's been super reliable, but I do plan on upgrading at some point. As for my tripod, I've been using the Manfrotto 055 carbon fiber tripod. I've had this thing since the very beginning and it's been a solid investment. Here's the pro tip: get a tripod that has flip locks. The flip locks make it so much easier. Just pop them open, the legs slide right out, and you're good to go. Compared to those twist locks, which in my opinion can take forever. For my camera setup, I'm currently using the Sony a7 IV paired with the Sony 16-35 f4 lens. It is a full frame camera setup and it's been amazing for real estate photography. When I first started out, I was using a smaller APS-C camera, the Sony a6300. I actually used that old a6300 on a recent project. The only downside is that the LCD screen isn't that bright, so when you're shooting outside, it can get a little bit tricky to see what you're shooting. But overall, it gets the job done. The cool thing about real estate photography is that you can get started on a relatively low budget. I remember when I first started, it felt like no one wanted to share the secret sauce of real estate photography. It was either gatekeeping or just a lack of information, but I could never find the right settings for my camera. It was frustrating because honestly, the process is super simple once you figure that part of it out. So let's go through my settings. I shoot in aperture priority mode. It's great because the camera does most of the work for you. The f-stop is at f8 and ISO 100. So for real estate, you want to shoot with multiple exposures. So I shoot bracketed photos. Most modern cameras have an auto bracketing feature, which makes it even easier. Here, I'm talking about composition. The goal is to make sure that you have the key elements, like that picture frame and this console, fully in the shot. I'm shooting 5 bracketed photos, each with 2 exposure values apart. That means that the camera takes 1 properly exposed shot, 2 overexposed shots, and then 2 underexposed shots. How strong it is and how much we need on the flash. Another thing I always use is a self timer. It helps reduces the chance of the camera shaking. I set it to a 2-second delay, so after I hit the shutter button, the timer counts down, and then the camera takes 5 bracketed photos. Once that's done, I manually take the 6th shot using a flash. So for this room, we're going for 3 corner shots. If I had to pick just 2, I'd start with the first corner shot from the door, And then this shot right here. From this angle, you can see the entryway, which is important because it shows off the entire layout of the space. So here we're on photo number 3. All I'm doing is hitting the shutter button, letting the 2-second timer go off, and then the camera takes the 5 bracketed shots automatically. And after that, I follow it up with the flash shot. Boom, now it looks good. We got what we need, on to the next shot. And basically that's the entire process. So the process of taking the actual photo probably takes less than 10 seconds. All right, so now we're moving on to the next room, the dining area. So the trickier thing with shooting a straight on shot is going to be making sure that the horizontals are aligned. This is where you want to use all of the features your camera has. If you have a leveling feature, turn that thing on. If your camera has grids, make sure you're using those as well because they'll help you line up those horizontal lines. So you'll notice that this chair is kind of in the way. Don't be afraid to pick it up and move it. Just make sure you put it back exactly where you found it. Okay, so I forgot to mention the gear head when I was talking about the equipment. The gear head is what I'm adjusting here. Don't bother getting a ball head. Get a 3-way geared head because it's gonna allow you to make those fine adjustments much quicker and more precisely. You also see me holding on my hand right next to the lens here. That is to block any lens flare. We have the sun coming straight into the camera. It's getting warm in here. Jeez. Perfect. And maybe just a little corner shot just for good measure. It's okay to overshoot a little bit. Just don't go too crazy, but getting a couple angles of each one of the lenses is good to have. So here, shooting in the kitchen is gonna be a little bit different in terms of the tripod height. You wanna bring it up to around 4.5 to 5 feet. The goal is to avoid seeing under the cabinets, so make sure that the camera is high enough so where you're capturing the cabinets straight on, but not too low where you end up seeing beneath them. As you can see, I'm making those little adjustments to the gear head. It's so easy to use and it's really the best for real estate photography. Living space. Tricky little spot we're in right here. This kitchen is kind of awkward in space. Just get a little creative with it so we have another option. So here we are heading into the primary bedroom. I like to start from the doorway and shoot into the room. Sometimes the door handle sneaks into the shot. I know some photographers don't like that, but for me, I don't mind it at all. So this shot's a little bit too bright, so let's go ahead and just delete it. To keep your post-production workflow light, just delete photos that you know you won't need in camera in the moment. For primary bedrooms, I like to take a second shot to show where the closet and the bathrooms are. Most times that angle will be from the top corner besides the bed and the nightstand looking towards the door. But in this case, the layout's a little bit different, so I'm shooting from the bottom corner to showcase that same perspective. Speaking of the closet, quick note, the second drawer here isn't fully closed. It's a small thing, but make sure to tidy everything up before shooting. So after I delivered the photos on this project, the agent actually asked me if I could edit the drawer to be closed. And of course, I said yes. And I went straight to Photoshop and then used AI to create some magic. Okay, so here we're going into the second bathroom. The one thing I like to do is make sure that all the faucet handles are straight. Another thing, toilet seats always have to be down. For the second and third bedrooms, I usually just take one shot straight from the door and I move on to the next room. Now we're heading to the backyard. A quick side note again, always wear shoe covers inside someone's home. So to stay prepared, always make sure that you have a couple of pairs in your car or in your bag. I'm starting by shooting the backyard from the house. Outside, you obviously don't need flash since it's plenty bright. Also, I was walking around and I saw either fruit, smashed fruit, or dog doo-doo or something. So keep an eye out for the grassy areas because you definitely don't want to step on that. Since his backyard was pretty big, I grabbed several angles just to make sure I had plenty of options. I also noticed that the gate was open, so I made sure I closed that before shooting. The trash bins were also in the shot, but I figured that I could remove them in post. Shooting the front exterior was tricky because the sun was low and shining directly into the camera. I had to get a little bit creative, blocking the sun with my hand without covering the house. Don't worry about your hand being in frame. Since we're swapping out the sky in post-production, it doesn't matter too much. The most important thing, just make sure you're not covering any part of the house. Just get it enough where you're blocking out the sun. felt like the 2 angles of the front exterior weren't enough, so I added this shot of the walkway leading up to the front door. Whew. So that was pretty quick. Where are we at? Under 25 minutes. But that's pretty much it. 25 minutes of work, $300 for this project here, and it took me 25 minutes. Not bad. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll throw up the finished photos throughout this video, so let me know if you guys have any questions. Until next time, go out there, shoot some houses, make some money, scale your business, and I'll see you next time. Peace.